Good morning, guys. My name is Ryan with Michigan Storm Chasers. We're going to go over a few updates that we've been talking about over the past day or so regarding this upcoming messy system heading our way. Some snow potential, some freezing rain potential as well. And I just want to hop on here this morning. No, usually we put out a forecast in terms of like text and a graphic, but because it's Monday and this system is starting to impact us already, we're going to go ahead and go live here and dive into the real hard data and go over anything that we think is worth updating. So we do have one major update we wanted to kind of bring to your attention here, especially for a pretty precise area here in Michigan. First and foremost, your current radar, we do see some snow showers across portions of the state. Nothing widespread, nothing major with this, maybe a quick dusting depending on where you're at. But then we look down to the south and to our west towards Indiana and Illinois, and then even further west into Missouri. We start seeing this mixed precipitation start to mix in here. And that is going to be our concern for the primary for tonight, this afternoon, into tonight, into the overnight hours. So we are seeing the models this morning, overnight models, and also what we've seen this morning. We haven't got the full suite of models yet, but we are seeing these models start to really key in on one particular area in Michigan that may, I'm going to stress this, may reach a 1/4 inch of ice accretion, which would be the ice storm criteria. So looking at a few of these models here, we're going to look at the HRRR model first. Going through the radar, the estimated radar according to this model, what we kind of see here is what we're kind of getting right now. We see that rain and not rain, but we get the mix down toward Indiana, Illinois. We have snow showers in the state. So this model right now has a pretty good handle on things. So we're going to trust it just a little bit in terms of the timing and stuff like that. So we go ahead and run this through this morning in the afternoon here. We start seeing that snow work its way through the state, and then we start seeing the mixed precip start to move into the south and west. Now it may start as snow. We are cold enough right now that the first initial precipitation across southern Michigan may start to fall as snow. Wouldn't surprise us. We move through the afternoon. This is 1 p.m. here. 2 p.m. we start seeing a little bit of a mix try to work its way in there across the 94 corridor as that snow moves off to the east into Ontario here. We start seeing that initial precipitation, snow to sleet to maybe a freezing rain type of mix. And then the real bulk of the system starts to work its way up from the south here. We start seeing the mixed precip there across the 94 corridor in the bottom tier counties here. This is tonight at 9 p.m. This is 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight tonight. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We start seeing a change over to snow there right around that 4 a.m. time frame, give or take a few hours. These aren't going to be exact. It's going to depend heavily on the surface temperature here. But we also start seeing that snow work its way up through the state there. But notice that bottom tier counties down here, Lenawee, Monroe, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, and Berrien counties, they do not change to snow for a very long time here. Eventually, this is this morning, or tomorrow, should I say tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we start seeing that snow start to move out of the state. We start seeing some rain mix in there right around the 94 corridor there. So finally, after about 10 hours of what could be potentially freezing rain, it changes back over to rain as temperatures rise above freezing. So what does that mean? In terms of ice accumulation, we are becoming a little bit more concerned that we may reach storm criteria for that bottom row of counties in Michigan, right along the 94 corridor and area south. We are seeing some indications here that we could see up to a 1/4 or maybe even more, up to 0.3, 3/10 of an inch of ice in some areas that are close to the Ohio border, Indiana border there. Now, if that were to happen, it would definitely cause some concern for not only the slippery roadways and sidewalks and ice on your windshield, stuff like that, but it would also accumulate very heavily on trees and power lines if we can manage to get over that 1/4 inch of ice threshold. Because once we really get over that 1/4 inch, we really start to talk and be concerned about power outages. So it's a very small area currently that's forecasted to get to that criteria here in Michigan. It's going to be that bottom row of counties: Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, and Berrien counties have the highest potential to see that ice storm criteria. Now, again, this isn't going to be a major system. We're not thinking it's going to blow the top off. For those of you who remember last year's ice storm, I don't think we're going to match that at all. But once we get close to that quarter-inch of ice, we really start becoming concerned here for power outages. We want to let you guys know that ahead of time as we head into tonight, as the system is only about 12 hours away, less than 12 hours away from really starting to ramp up into the overnight hours. Now, there are ways this system can also fail. If the temperatures are 1 degree, and I literally mean 1 degree off in the lowest levels of the atmosphere here, this freezing rain may actually fall more as rain or may fall as more snow. Excuse me. It's going to really heavily depend on these temperature profiles, but right now the temperatures, excuse me, just have breakfast here. Excuse me. The temperatures right now are forecasted to be pretty much right there at that freezing rain criteria. If we look at what actually causes freezing rain in the atmosphere here, here's a good graphic of what could be or what should be the atmospheric levels tonight, should I say. So we see on the left here, when you have that warm air across most of the entire atmosphere, that's what follows rain. But when we have that warm air aloft and that colder air towards the surface, that is what we have tonight that's going to support that freezing rain type of scenario. Now we get that colder solution in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We start seeing sleet and maybe some even snow there mixing in. So it's going to heavily depend on how these temperatures act in the low to mid levels of the atmosphere. But right now, all these models are currently indicating that freezing rain will be the predominant precipitation type for areas along and south of 94. Areas north of 94 still seeing that potential for snow. Going back here to the snow accumulations here, we do see the NAM model pick up on what should be the reasonable location. Again, it's going to heavily depend on where that temperature gradient sets up, where snow is going to fall in terms versus the mixed precipitation with freezing rain and potential of mixing of snow there. So again, the NAM is pretty bullish, or should I say bearish, I believe the term is, on snow accumulations here. This is also the Kuchera method, which is not your typical. We probably should be using 10 to 1, actually. I'm going to switch over to 10 to 1 really quickly. The ratio of snow matters when you talk about accumulation, and it's about the same here. 2 to 4 inches there. If you're north 94 is a really good bet there. But if you're in the very top of Michigan towards Gaylord, we'll say north of Mount Pleasant, you guys probably are going to see only about a dusting out of the storm. We're not really expecting much in the way of snow accumulation up there. It should remain south of Mount Pleasant, but also north of 94, closer to the 96 corridor there for snow accumulation. That begins very primarily, we start to see the snow pick up Tuesday morning, right around the 11 o'clock time frame. It'll last through the afternoon and be tapering off by Tuesday evening. So again, the freezing rain potential south of that line towards 94 happens tonight in the overnight hours into Tuesday morning. Then snow happens Tuesday afternoon. Again, 2 to 4, we have a forecast that we posted last night. It still has not changed in terms of thinking just yet. We're going to post an updated forecast if these models continue to show an increased potential for a little bit higher freezing rain amounts to the south there. But those are going to be mainly for the southernmost counties there. We're not really going to see that further north towards, the closer you go to 94, the better off you currently look to be in terms of ice accretion. But the map here, pretty much in line with what we're thinking this morning. Again, a tenth to a quarter inch of ice, maybe isolated higher amounts. We're not going to throw that out there just yet. Again, if we have some more confidence as the afternoon goes on, we'll go live again this evening and update you guys. But for right now, the going forecast that is pinned on our page does appear to be pretty accurate and pretty on track with that. With that being said, I do see some questions in the comments here. I will answer the ones that I did not cover. Again, if you guys are going to ask for locations, I would ask that you don't, unless you don't know where you're at. In terms of freezing rain potential, along and south of I-94 in southern Michigan has the best threat, and then north of there has the best snow threat. And again, in terms of timing, freezing rain starts this afternoon into this evening, ramps up around midnight, lasts overnight, tapers off Tuesday morning, changes to rain at that point, but then areas north 94 changes to snow over the period of Tuesday morning to the afternoon. Christina, not currently thinking Macomb and Oakland counties are going to see a very big ice threat. Again, looking back at that model here, this is your ice accumulation. As we can kind of run this through here, up here in Macomb, you could see some freezing rain mix in there anywhere in that dark gray area. You could see some freezing rain, but when you get into pinks, and especially the dark pinks down here in Lenawee, Monroe, all the way through here, and even into Indiana, if you guys live in northern Indiana or northwest Ohio, those areas are going to see the highest potential for higher freezing rain accretion. Up there in Macomb and Oakland, not going to see much at all, but you still could see some mix in, but again, not going to amount to much. Wayne County is currently kind of borderline there. You're going to see probably, um, you're going to be on, it's going to heavily depend on how that temperature gradient sets up. To give you an accurate measurement here, can we zoom in to Wayne County here? I don't know if I can zoom in on this map here. There we go. That's a little bit better. We can kind of see it's a pretty sharp cutoff here in the bottom tier counties. But if you're in southern Wayne, southern Washtenaw, Jackson, Calhoun, Kalamazoo, or Van Buren counties, you may sneak into that the higher totals there according to this model. But again, these models aren't exact. It's going to heavily depend on how these temperature profiles are going to shape up tonight. But if you are in the southern row of the second tier of counties there, you could be on alert there tonight. I'll zoom back out here. There we go. Ashley, I do believe that if we're going to see any power outages, it's going to be in that southernmost tier of counties in Michigan, from Monroe all the way over to Berrien County. And they should remain, given if the expectation is right around a quarter inch of ice at most. Given that, I would say isolated at best. But again, if we see over that quarter inch threshold, we could start talking about scattered outages for sure. But it's not going to be a widespread statewide thing. It's going to be pretty much tied to that bottom row of counties. Traverse City, looking mostly at just maybe a dusting of snow for you guys. You guys should remain north of this system, but you could still be impacted by some quick snow tomorrow afternoon for you guys. Kim, this is going to start up this afternoon. It's going to really ramp up though towards midnight in terms of freezing rain. Again, looking at that the precipitation depiction thing. Looking at the initial band of snow here, we start seeing it change over to snow right around this afternoon. Then we start seeing that rain, or not the freezing rain changeover, should I say, right around that. Really starts to ramp up here closer to 9 p.m. tonight, but by midnight, it really should start getting going there. But yeah, Dundee, again, expect some snow showers this afternoon. And then later tonight, change over to freezing rain. There may be a little bit of a lull there, so don't be shocked there if you guys are in southern Michigan. There starts snowing, and then you get nothing for a few hours there. It looks to be a lull there before the bulk of the system comes up later tonight. So if it stops or doesn't do anything all day, it's fine. The system's still coming later on. Yes, the morning commute is our biggest concern across southern Michigan there, especially the 94 corridor. It's going to be an ice rink, no matter if it's a tenth of an inch of ice or a quarter inch of ice. The travel impacts are going to be the same. It's going to be an ice rink on roads that are not treated by MDOT and the county commissions. So be prepared. Definitely be prepared. Tuesday morning commute is going to be probably hazardous and slippery across most of southern Michigan. Diane, this is not a lake effect snow event. This is going to be primarily a weaker system, passing system. The winds need to be out of the west or northwest for lake effect snow. It's going to be pretty heavy winds as well, but we're not going to see that with the system. It's been snowing all morning in Auburn, Bay City area, snowing in Oakland County. Yeah, the snow showers are going to be passing through the day. That's expected. Not going to be widespread snow, but areas may see a quick dusting or so, depending on where you're at. Also want to point this out that back further west towards Missouri, I know Reed Timmer is currently out there covering the system, and that has caused some power outages out there as well. I believe Reed, I don't know if he's over exaggerating it, but Reed said between 3/10 and 4/10 of an inch of ice have fallen already out there as well. So we're already seeing the system impact out west. So that brings a little bit more confidence that we're going to see some impacts here in Michigan. Although, again, it heavily depends on temperature profiles from state to state. But he's out there in Missouri currently, I believe, in Missouri, covering the system. Ingham County, yeah, you probably going to see a little bit of freezing rain, but in terms of impacts, besides slick roadways, I don't think you're going to see much in the way of accumulation / accretion, whatever you want to use the term for Ingham County there. So you should remain pretty good, but still slick travel Tuesday morning, definitely possible for you guys. Snow is coming down pretty good in Oscoda. Thank you, Tanya. Looking at back at that radar here, we do see some heavier type of snow up there towards the Saginaw, up towards Houghton Lake. So some areas are getting some pretty decent snowfall right now, but again, not going to accumulate much there. If we were to go back and take a look at Missouri's radar here, if I can find it here. There we go. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, there we go. There's further back to the west and south there. That's our system that's out currently over Missouri, dumping freezing rain over portions. But that's currently changing back over to rain there as expected as temperatures rise with during the day. So impacts there should be pretty short-lived, but still very impactful for the Missouri people out there. That's heading our way tonight. No, Lisa, we're not expecting this to be a major ice storm. Again, impacts, if this is going to reach ice storm criteria, it's going to be very borderline at best. And that's going to be mainly for those areas south of 94 here, where we see the highest ice accretion on models. There's your model there. 94 runs right about the second tier counties here. So pretty much right along and south of 94 is going to see the best possible chance at any type of power outages or classified ice storm, because we need that quarter inch or more of ice to get that ice storm criteria. I did read Northern Indiana's discussion this morning. They cover Berrien, Cass, Branch, and St. Joseph, as well as Hillsdale County too. They cover those bottom southwest tiers of counties there. They did mention potential of a quarter inch or more of ice for their counties as well. So the National Weather Service is monitoring this as well. I know Detroit went ahead and added a bunch of winter weather advisories. Southern parts have, in fact, I'm going to pull that up really quickly here. Let me go ahead and read off the counties here. If I can pull this up. It's going to take me a second just to get these. I don't have this page saved. I may not be able to pull this up here. I don't have it saved for some reason. All right. We'll go ahead and use this though. There we go. Let's roll this over here. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on this. Hopefully, there we go. Can't really click on individual counties to kind of get an idea, but the general gist of this is if you're the north of 94 area, you're going to see 2 to 4 inches of snow. If you're along and south of 94, the winter weather advisory there is covering 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice, depending on your location there. If you're in southeast Michigan, I believe Detroit has you in 1/10 to 2/10. If you're in the Indiana zone, you're looking at 1/10 to 1/4 inch. And I think Grand Rapids also included in their winter weather advisory potential for 2/10 up to 2/10 as well for 94 corridor there. Yes, that's correct. 2/10. So, but then again, if you are north of 94 there, you're going to see mainly that just a snow solution there. Usually I have a better feed here. I can pull up different counties and look at each individual warning text and criteria, stuff like that. But I don't have that up this morning. I don't want to go looking for it. It's saved on my phone, but not my computer where I'm streaming from here. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, areas north towards like Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Flint, you may see some brief freezing rain mix in, but it's not going to accumulate to much of anything at all. I know the Kent County winter weather advisory does have up to 1/10 of an inch. That seems, a little bit. That seems pretty well handled there. I would assume there. We really start getting concerned the further south you go. Yes, the starting time for this is going to be looking at the radar. We are seeing the beginnings of the system start working towards Michigan. We have some snow showers passing through the state, and then freezing rain changes over right around 9 to 10 p.m. tonight. Around that time frame, really ramps up after midnight and lasts into Tuesday morning. Now, if you are in the snow zone, that snow is going to mostly fall tomorrow afternoon for you guys up north of 94. Megan, that is quite likely assuming everything goes as planned here with this forecast, I would assume we're going to see some school closings across southern Michigan tomorrow. Yeah, I know the going forecast for this is a tenth to a quarter inch, depending on where you're at. The further south you go, the highest is the highest total you're going to have. But in terms of the duration of this, my concern from a personal standpoint is if we get the sustained colder, going back to this map here that I showed you guys with the freezing rain, if we can sustain the freezing rain profile here, where we have cold air at the surface and just above the surface with warm air aloft, if we can sustain that for 8+ hours tonight across southern Michigan, my concern is we're going to see closer to that quarter inch of ice. And again, it's a very fine line with temperatures because, as I mentioned before, 1 degree makes all the difference with these types of systems. I'll say that again: 1 degree can make all the difference with these types of systems, and I mean that. So, if this stays that freezing rain profile throughout most, if not all, of tonight, with the duration and the length of a freezing rain type of event, I'd be really concerned that we're going to be closer to the quarter inch of ice, especially in the southern rural counties there, which is my main concern here. But I'm really hoping that we're going to get a dry slot working in here that's going to cut off precipitation for a little bit, which is possible. But also another one would be B, we can change over to mostly rain there. A little bit warmer profile will be optimal to avoid any significant impacts. But still, travel impacts are going to be felt pretty significantly. I'd assume Tuesday morning here. Berry County looking for mainly just snow. I just woke up and I cannot talk this morning. I apologize. Oakland County, Farmington Hills. Again, you guys are going to be mainly snow up there. Looking at for the potential of freezing rain there, I'm going to say a tenth or so for you guys. Again, it's going to heavily depend on these temperature profiles, but you're going to be borderline there between that freezing rain and the snow mark there. Here's our map for reference here. Up in there towards Pontiac, where you're at Farmington Hills, that area, you're right there borderline to that freezing rain to rain line and the snow line there. So it could go either way for you. Winter weather advisory does cover 2 to 4 inches of snow and up to 2/10 of an inch of ice for you guys, but I would expect that 2/10 to be further south at this point. Yeah, Brandy, it depends on where you're at. If you're in that southern row of counties from Berrien County all the way over towards Lake Erie, towards Monroe County, if you're in the bottom tier of counties here in Michigan, that is going to be the highest potential for power outages. And then again, that's going to be especially if we can get closer to that quarter inch of ice. And it's really hard to say with these systems because these systems can really start to ramp up very fast. I'll tell you guys a short little story here. Back on last year's ice storm, I want to say it was in February, if I'm not mistaken. All afternoon we were fine. We were fine. It was raining, freezing drizzle. It was starting to accumulate on the power lines, but as the sun went down closer to about 7, 8 p.m., it really started to ramp up, and we really started to see power outages come in closer to the 9 p.m. time frame. I know I lost power closer to 10:30 or so, but about a 3 hour time span, even though it was freezing drizzle all day, the 3 hour time span between, we'll say, 7 and 10 p.m. really made the difference in that storm. So these systems can really ramp up very quickly. So we have to pay attention tonight for sure. We'll have updates on our page. Hopefully all goes well. Hopefully get a bit of a warmer profile. But again, still going to see impacts for Tuesday morning. And again, any power outages should be tied to the very furthest tier of counties in Michigan. Yeah, Brandy, you're going to be right there in that line there, Gibraltar. You're right there on the Monroe County, Wayne County line there. So you're going to be in that area of interest for sure when we talk about higher ice accretion totals. Again, you zoom in towards you, you're pretty much borderline there on this model here, between what could be about 2/10 to a tenth. So, and this model does run every hour. I don't know if this is loaded yet. Not really loaded. This is up till 2 a.m. in the morning here. We start seeing some ice. We already see a tenth of an inch on this model created here. Over towards the southwest Berrien County here, we see just across the border, Indiana, we see closer to 3/10 of an inch. This is only through 2 a.m. as well. So again, we're looking at new data here. This runs every hour. So this is the 10 a.m. run. So we'll be watching these all day. We'll have updates on the page for you guys in terms of how this is looking. So if you guys want updates, check our page. We'll have updates. Brandy, yeah, it will affect Detroit as well in terms of freezing rain and potentially even snow there. Um, it's going to heavily depend where that temperature profile sets up. Even areas along 94 may see some snow tonight as well if the temperatures are cold enough. Like I said before, I'll bring it up again to show you guys. If it's going to depend, these temperature profiles matter because it's the difference between somebody getting snow, sleet, freezing rain, or rain. One temperature can make all the difference between any of these solutions here. So if we get a colder solution, it'll be mainly a more sleet to a snow type of solution. But if we get a more warmer solution, it could be a freezing rain to rain type of solution. Right now, it's looking like a freezing rain solution for Detroit area. And again, the winter weather advisory for Wayne County there does indicate up to 2/10 of an inch of ice for you guys there as well. So see you, Jody. You stay safe as well. Livingston County, again, right on the border of that freezing rain to snow line there. So it could go either way for you guys. But again, if you're the further north you go in that pink zone, the less ice we're expecting. The further south you go towards the border, the more ice we're expecting. So keep that in mind. Larry, right now, the time seems pretty much set, concrete. We have really good data coming out from the storm. We're watching it on radar all the way to our south and west there. We're kind of watching it right on track with the models. So, in terms of major shifts, no. But again, these systems can stretch between an hour or two in any given direction. So, um, start time for freezing rain for southern Michigan should definitely be right around that 9 to 10 p.m. time frame, give or take an hour or so. It's not exact, but um, significant timing impacts or shifts, should I say? No, we're not going to see any significant changes. When does the snow melt? Carrie, great question. Now, we'll take a peek here at temperatures throughout the week. I know a lot of you are unhappy with your Arctic subscription, as we call it on our page. Looking at the temperatures here throughout the week, we do stay above freezing for a large portion of the week. We're seeing 30s through the Tuesday time frame. We start getting warmer here. We see that really warm air just off to our south in Indiana here, Kentucky, Missouri. We're starting to see 50s there, but we're in the mid 30s, maybe sneaking into the 40s, southern Michigan there on Wednesday. Again, going through the day on Thursday, again, same story. We're going to see 30s, mid 30s there, closer to 40 and closer to 40 in southern Michigan there. But these temperatures stick around for quite a while. We're going to be above freezing for quite some time here. We do see some colder air coming in for the weekend there, maybe early parts of next week. But again, not going to be very long lasting there in terms of um, impacts there. Again, we can go back here and look at a few different things. Somebody give me a location in Michigan. Where shout a location off. We'll play a game here. I can pull up city charts here if I can find it. All right, I go back here and pull up city charts. There we go. That'll do it. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do. Anybody say all right, who said it first? Let's see here. Rockford. Let's go ahead and do Rockford, Grand Rapids area. Click on Michigan. Yeah, we're Michigan. There you go. There's Michigan. Let's click on the closest to Rockford would be Grand Rapids Metro. So let's find Grand Rapids here. There we go. That is your temperature profile here for the next 15 days. Now, if you notice, we're not going to be below freezing for a high temperature according to this model here. This is the European model. We don't see any particular indication of any cold snap coming on this model. We do see above freezing for the entirety of the 15-day period. And this model even indicates a big warm up could be coming into the 50s for early February. Now, that is looking likely, honestly. So we could be talking 50s in the February. Maybe. We'll see. Not going to throw a forecast out just yet, but again, the pattern what does suggest that we're going to be looking at warmer temperatures in the February. So keep that in mind. Toledo, yes. Toledo is going to be in that area of interest for freezing rain. Again, for our friends outside of the state, down there in Indiana and Ohio, looking at the model here, we're going to see basically if you're in Indiana, US 24 from Fort Wayne down to, we'll say, Lafayette, and then areas north there. Again, I'm going to see the highest. In areas north of Lima in Northwest Ohio, we're going to see the most accumulation of accretion of ice, should I say. And again, Toledo is in that zone of interest for sure. This is a NAM run, actually. I need to go back to the HRRR. I'm not sure why I'm on the NAM. There we go. That's better. There we go. Now the HRRR here is what I was a little bit concerned there, but this is a more accurate representation of what we're talking about tonight. Now, if you are north Indianapolis and north of Dayton, you guys should be in that zone there. Toledo is definitely in that zone of heavier accretion there. I'm not sure why the NAM is so far off. I don't know why I clicked that, honestly. But yeah, this is the accurate map here. Melissa, this is live here. It's 11:31. No sound? Did I lose sound? Oh, okay, I got you. All right, cool. All right, guys, I'm about to hop off here, though. Just going to recap really quickly. We are looking at a system moving in currently on radar. Actually, I lost my radar when we went to city charts here. Lost the radar, but we do have a system moving in from the south and to our west here. Go ahead and bring it up on the model. We're seeing it start as snow across the state. It'll change over to freezing rain tonight, right around that 10 p.m. time frame, give or take an hour or so across southern parts of Michigan. That'll last pretty much all night long, with snow changing over for central Michigan Tuesday morning, right around that 10 a.m. time frame. And then the southern areas and freezing rain will change over to mostly rain as we get closer to noon tomorrow. Again, highest totals of ice accretion in the southern parts of the state, particularly along 94 and areas south to the border of Indiana and Ohio. And then if you are north 94, we're talking about 2 to 4 inches of snow up to around the Mount Pleasant, Cadillac, Ludington area. Again, that could shift a little bit depending on temperature profiles. But again, this is going to be a general forecast that still holds accurate. This is forecasted yesterday, still holds accurate today. We're expecting most areas in the freezing rain to be between 1/10 and 2/10, but we are becoming a little bit more concerned. I'm going to stress the little part just because we're not going to get all, excited or worried about an ice storm just yet, but we are seeing some indications we could see a little bit closer to the 1/4 inch, maybe closer to 3/10, which would bring up some concern for power outages, stuff like that. We're going to be watching through the day, so watch the page for updates. We'll have updates on that. But overall, timing on this again starts tonight for freezing rain areas, and then snow areas will start tomorrow morning, afternoon. With that being said, guys, hit that like button on your way out. We'll go live probably again tonight, maybe afternoon or maybe evening. We'll have to decide yet. We'll go live again tonight for an update. So if you guys want to come back and watch, you're welcome to. But overall, the forecast is pinned on the page. Go ahead and read it if you want to. Stay safe, guys. See you later.